and welcome. Good morning and welcome. This is great for you all to have showed up for this meeting, for this call to understand how important it is to recognize that there are people out there with disabilities and there are caregivers as well. And sometimes those caregivers need to have more information to understand how the best way to care for that person with the disabilities is, because the person with disabilities can't always verbalize it. They can't always tell you what they want, what they need. And that's what Radical Vision for Disabilities is all about. It's helping not only the person with the disabilities, but also the caregivers as well. So today we have a special guest, and I'm going to read to you a little bit about his introduction. So for the last 22 years, Greg Cini has traveled the world working with many of our top senior living companies, and now owns and operates Kemper House of Central Ohio, a specialized Alzheimer's and dementia care provider that uses the latest in research, technology, and nutrition and fitness to push back against the disease. Greg is going to share with us information about the common misnomers that people have about dementia, the power and process of early detection, and tips and tricks for caring for someone with dementia in their own home, and to find the best memory care facility in your area, and what to find and what to expect with that care. Without any further ado, I want to bring on our friend, Mr. Greg Cini. Hey, Greg!
Hello,
How are
Brian.
you?
I am good. How are you doing? It's so good to see you, buddy.
It's good seeing you. It's good seeing you. So, Greg, let me ask you the question. Most families would recognize the diagnosis of dementia as a death sentence. How would you answer that?
You know, the diagnosis itself is devastating to families. The disease is brutal. I deal with it every day. But the one thing I can tell families is that there is hope out there. In fact, my own mother last March was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And I remember leaving the neurologist feeling hopeless and sad and depressed. And this is something that I deal with every day. I have an organization that deals with our residents living with dementia, living with the disease, the struggles that go along with it. And yet I have the knowledge and background to know that there is hope and there are things that we can do on a daily basis with or without dementia to improve cognitive performance. And so I am in that journey, in that fight with my own mother. So it's very personal to me. And I spend a lot of time working with some of the best neurologists in the nation to understand what are the things that we can do to fight back against not necessarily dementia, but cognitive decline as a whole, because we, as we age, there's a normal level of cognitive decline that we have that we don't necessarily have to have if we're doing the right things. And the good part about it is that anybody can do most of the things that we're talking about, and it's free. So I'd like to discuss that a little bit more here in a bit, but I think that's a good kickoff.
Awesome. It's never too late. If you want to hear more, stick around. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for being on today, Greg.
You're welcome, Brian.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about what else we can do to just be cognitive, be make our cognitive reflexes better, even without the diagnosis.
Sure. Now, I will tell you that your joy is contagious. I can't stop smiling for some reason. So I don't know what it is, but I'm digging it. So thank you for that.
Good.
That's a part of brain health is having joy in your heart. So your heart and your head are directly connected. So how well your heart performs impacts your brain function. And some of the things that I always talk about, these sort of 6 points that anybody can do starting today to really sharpen their cognition. And this might sound cliche, but the reality of it is it's been proven to work. And so I'm just going to sort of rattle down through the 6 things that I'm going to recommend. I love reading about brain health and brain healthy diets and all this type of stuff. And so I don't know how you do follow-up, but I'd gladly give you a list of neurologists and physicians that have put great reads together that anybody can go on and sort of study some of the stuff that I'm talking about and get some of the proof behind what I'm going to talk about. So the first thing I always mention is sleep, quality sleep. And that sounds easy, but it's not for Americans. We are the worst about sleeping. One of the things we recommend, which I'm guilty of, is looking at smart devices and TVs an hour before you go to bed. So what the blue light does is it kicks off your circadian cycle, which is sort of your morning time. Hey, I'm waking up, light's hitting me, and I'm activating all my neurons to really go into my day. And as things darken down, your circadian cycle slows down, and then it allows you to sleep well. What that blue light does is it kicks that circadian cycle off, and you tend to get bad sleep. So having a room that's the temperature is right. They say about 65 degrees is optimal. Room darkening shades, so making sure that the room is exceptionally dark. You have a comfortable bed, and that varies for everybody. What does that feel like? What does that look like? Pillows, blankets, all the things that make you comfortable. You might even want some white noise in there if you have some background noise going on. So there's some little tips and tricks that you can do to really get high quality of sleep. And the main thing is every body to function properly and every brain to be optimized on its function, you need 8 to 12 hours. I think 12 is pushing it, but as we age, it's okay to push more towards that 12. As in our younger years, I would say that 8 range is fine, but everybody's different. Honestly, I'm going on 4 hours of sleep right now. So,
oh my gosh,
I'm the worst offender of them all. Yeah, I know. I didn't mean to do that. So, and another thing is meditation is fantastic for relaxing your brain. Spending sort of empty time meditating on things is very powerful. We're overcommitted society with, we think the more stacked up our schedule is, the more productive we are, but that's not true. Having rest time for your brain, Warren Buffett always talks about, if I fill up my schedule, how am I going to have time to sit and think? So actually just sitting and meditating on things 7 to 15 minutes a day is powerful. And then also there are apps that are out there that can sort of run you through, and you can stage that I want a 7-minute meditation, or I want a 15-minute, I want to do that daily or a couple of times a day or however it is, but 7 to 15 minutes a day in meditation, a brain healthy diet. So I'm all about diet.
Wait. Are we still on number one?
No. So we're talking high quality sleep, meditation, a brain healthy diet, fitness. So we should be exercising. You don't have to sit there and sweat it out in a gym, but you should get out every day and do some sort of movement with your body. There's there's areas of the world they're called blue zones, and they don't really, it's not based on fitness in a gym. It's based on fitness of you just being out and active and walking around and hiking and doing those types of things are very powerful for you. And they say that you should have about 150 minutes per week of aerobic, a combination of aerobic, weight exercise. They call it sort of this multimodal thing where you're exercising and then you're challenging yourself cognitively. So adding numbers in your head, doing different things, puzzling, doing things while you're actually exercising is the biggest way to push back against especially cognitive decline and dementia. So we actually do that at Kemper House. Our gym is built specifically to take our residents and do multimodal fitness with them. And then brain fitness is another thing. So learning a new language, learning an instrument, and it's all about the learning moment. So you sitting and reading is not really learning because it's a rote thing for you. You already pretty much know all the words, and so your brain isn't being challenged. It's a very relaxing thing. But to really push back against cognitive decline, it's about the learning moments and the firing of the neurons and what goes on in the new routes that you're developing by the learning process. And you can do any of that at home. And then there's also apps like Brain HQ and those types of things that you can actually exercise your brain. So you should be doing that weekly and potentially daily if you can bring that on. And then the one that tends to happen when we age and we start losing cognition, because we get embarrassed of that and we don't know, even our bodies, how our bodies are reacting, and maybe we're a little bit off balance or shaky or, Parkinson's, those types of things really impact how our body is. And you start losing the image of yourself. And so you tend to withdraw socially. So being socially active is one of the most powerful things to combat against dementia and cognitive loss. And so, belonging to your senior centers, getting out, going with family and friends.
Is that number 6?
That is number 6.
Being socially active.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
So we're talking high quality sleep, meditation, brain healthy diet. The diet you can follow, it's called Mind Diet, MIND, Mind Diet. You can look it up, and it's all superfoods, brain healthy foods, a lot of reduced high processed ingredients. And I hate to say this, like cheese. I love cheese, fried foods, red meats. Now you can eat red meats, but it's all. What's that?
Cheese is bad.
Cheese is not good for you. No. And I love cheese. I come from an Italian background, and cheese, so good. But, it's in moderation. So 80-20 rule for me. If you're spending 80% of your time eating the right foods and 20% is not so good, you're beating the American diet by tenfold. So, but they'll look up Mind Diet. You'll see what types of products and foods you should be eating. And so, and it's delicious. It's still delicious. I always tell people, think about how your grandparents ate. Very farm to table. They might have had chickens. They may have had bees. They grew their own gardens. So, going to the farmer's market in your area and buying foods on a more regular basis versus something that has a preservative in it that makes it last a shelf life that it was never meant to last. Those are the things you don't want to put in your body. Processed ingredients, preservatives, additives. Just know that FDA is not protecting us. And I tell people when they're shopping in the grocery store, read labels. And if you can't pronounce the word, you probably don't want to be putting it in your body.
Right.
Yeah. So then, the brain healthy diet, the body fitness, the brain fitness, and being socially connected are really the 6 points.
This is good. So good stopping point. So I want to encourage all of our listeners out there to put it into the comment section of where you're coming in from. If you're listening to this live, put in a hashtag live, and then where you're coming in from. And if you're listening on a replay, put in a hashtag replay. That's awesome. If you would be able to do that, that would help us a lot. And then, as always, share this video out with as many other people as you can think of, because we want to continue to serve this community and to make as many people as part of this community as we possibly can. So without doing that, that's a hard thing to do. So thank you very much for doing that. We appreciate that. Greg, we appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
So what would you say to someone that has recently been diagnosed? What would their family members, how would you help them?
Yes. So the first step I always tell people is that is a lot. What ends up happening a lot of the times is our families, they're seeing telltale traits of somebody having memory issues, and it's sort of this taboo thing. I don't want to talk to mom about it. I know it upsets her, or dad. They just don't want to believe that something's going on, and so that early awareness is super important, and don't hide it. Hit it head on. Make sure that you're surrounding yourself with a good medical team, a neurologist, a gerontologist, a physician that understands what it's like to deal with somebody that is suffering from dementia, and honestly having a good way to get continuing cognitive checkups just to see the progression of the disease. And so the earlier you catch the disease, the better off you're going to be, because it allows you to really do some planning, educating not only the person with dementia, but the family on what that journey can look like, and understanding that, and then figuring out through that journey, what would be the support services I would need in order to give my loved one their best life living with the disease. And then it also goes back to, some of the preventative stuff that the earlier we discover that thing, the more we can fight back. And so really just sort of hitting it head on, looking in the community at large, what are my options, in-house options? So a lot of people, so Kemper House, Worthington, not everybody, we're private pay. Not everybody can afford us. We start at $5,200, all inclusive, up to $75, depending on the size of the apartment. And
per month, right?
Per month. And a lot of people just can't afford that. And I hate that, but it's just the nature of our business and what we do. And that's what it takes to support and do all the special things. But at the same time, you can care for somebody in your own home. It can be a lot of work. It can be taxing on the family caregiver. But my wife actually wrote a book. It's called Hive. It's specifically designed to answer the questions and help people keep their loved one in their own home as long as they possibly can, under a safe environment with dignity of independence. And so there's a lot of things that you can do. So keeping them in-house, you can bring agencies to help you inside the house, and a lot of those can be paid for by insurance programs, government supported and private insurance programs. So if you want to keep them in your house, you can bring agency in to help with bathing and medications and different type of things if you need to get out of the house. And what ends up happening a lot of time is the spouse or a family member ends up spending all their time caring for that loved one, and it's overwhelming physically and emotionally. And I see a lot of caregivers pass away before the person with dementia because it's so taxing on them. So I highly recommend either searching for a community like ours that you can allow the resident, maybe it's a day program. We have a day program at Kemper House that you can drop your loved one off in the morning and pick them up in the evening, and they participate in all of our activities. We treat them like a full-time resident, but it allows the family to still function and do things and sort of get away from it. And it's really good for the resident too, to go to places, and we're purposely built to deal with people with dementia. And so we are activating them, they're eating the right things, they're doing all this stuff, and it's really powerful. And so that's another, so daycare, in-house services, agencies that can help with that. And then if it comes to it, full-time in a community like ours. And there's Medicaid communities for low income families, and then there's also private pay. And I'd say we're sort of in that low to mid range price point range. It can cost more, it can cost a little bit less, but that's in general where you're going to be at $5,200 to $7,500 per month. And if you can afford that, what I recommend is doing some internet searches, looking at Google reviews, seeing what other families that have had their loved ones there think about that community, and then go, once you've picked your top 3, go and visit them and interview the leadership team, interview the caregivers, and really get a sense of who they are. Because no matter how beautiful the community is, no matter all the amenities it has, it's about the people. And I always tell any family that comes to Kemper House, you have to trust in the leadership, and you have to trust in the care team that they're going to love on your family member like you would love them yourself. And so that's what it comes down to. If you can't feel the love when you walk in the door, then walk right back out.
Right. No, I agree. That makes a lot of sense. So we've got Randall Reeder here on, and he first of all, he recognized you for your props about the farm diet. So that's really important, because he's in the agricultural business, and then he also indicates how appreciative he is of you giving the tips in regards to finding the proper dementia care. So
sure, absolutely. Just one note is I actually wrote a book. It's called The Things to Remember About Memory Care. Things to Remember About Memory Care. And it's designed, it's not really designed to push you to Kemper House. It's anybody can use it anywhere in the world, and it's helping to reset expectations. And then what are the key things you should look for when you're looking for a dementia care? And it will work overseas, it will work any place in the United States, but it talks about all the latest in care, research, technology, nutrition, fitness, all that kind of stuff. Culture is a big thing, care culture. What does that look like? What should you expect? And this is a guide to help you sort of maneuver through that. And it doesn't even mention anything about Kemper House. It's not about marketing. It's about helping the world find the right places for your loved one.
Is that the name of the book?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I have it right here. And things to remember about memory care.
Okay.
my son designed the cover too. So.
Oh, that's nice.
Put out props to him.
That's good. That's good. And then your wife's book is called The Hive?
Yeah, it's called Hive.
Hive.
So Hive. And so I'm a beekeeper. We actually have 8 hives at Kemper House, and it produces almost 300 pounds of honey a year. So
really?
Yeah. And so she called it The Hive because we were taking care of grandma in our own house, and we were basically the worker bees taking care of the queen bee, and the queen bee was grandma with Alzheimer's.
That's fascinating.
Yeah,
so who do you have to take care of the hives? Who's the beekeeper?
I am.
You are?
I have a buddy. I've got I have it hanging up in my office right here, my whole garb and everything, and it looks like a man hanging on my wall. Everybody comes in and double takes it. What is that?
Oh, I love honey, so I use honey every day on either on my oatmeal or on a different yogurt. So
yeah, so one of the things we do at Kemper House is we don't use processed ingredients like white flour and white sugar, and so if we sweeten, it's with our own honey, or we purchase Ohio honey or Ohio maple syrup, and it makes all the difference in the world. What we're feeding our body impacts our health and ultimately impacts our cognition. It's one of the most important things we can do is pay attention to what we're putting in our body. And it sort of has this 10-year effect. If you start it today, over time, it just continues. There's no bad side effect by feeding your body right.
That's good advice. So our time is flying by here, Greg. I mean, we're already what, 26 minutes in?
Yeah.
So it's gone by very, very quickly, and I'm just so appreciative of having you on.
Sure.
But I wonder about if you can come back and to kind of go into either one of those areas, or you tell me what would you prescribe to have us learn more, our audience to learn more about Alzheimer's, dementia, and all that.
Well, I think, just really trying to figure out what it looks like, what are the things you can do, what are the steps to finding the right healthcare team, and then once you have a diagnosis, where does it go from there? And we can get sort of granular on that type of information to really say, look, this is the roadmap that you can follow, that if you're dealing with this, and it's not necessarily dementia related, it can be just cognitive decline, which, like I said, we all deal with that. So I'd like to hit on those topics a little bit more in the future.
Yeah. So those which topics specifically are you talking about? Kind of like pre-dementia or pre-diagnosis, and then diagnosis, and then,
yes. So we want to. Kemper House wants to be synonymous for brain and body health, and I want to be able to touch people's lives and in a way that I can keep them out of a place like Kemper House, and we have roadmaps to do that, and I think the more we talk about that, the better off society is going to be. 1 out of 6 seniors pass away from some form of dementia. So it's a big deal. And we're seeing more and more early stage. I have a 57-year-old in my community that just retired 2 years ago. And we've got many others that are under 65. And it's an issue. And it really has a lot to do with our lifestyles that we're living here in the US. And so if I can help educate people on avoiding, even if you're prone to having dementia, if you're doing the right things, you're going to help to resist and stave off the effects of it for longer and longer through the rest of your life. And so I would really love to touch on that, early detection, what that looks like, and then how we can live a healthier and more cognitively connected life.
Okay. Well, that's great. Thank you so much again. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. I feel so blessed to be with you, and you're just a joy. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm going to wave you off, but I'm going to close out the show while you're in the green room. So hang out in the green room. You can have as many M&Ms as you want, and make yourself to home.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Greg.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Wow. Incredible. So there's the URL, kemperhouse.com, or I'm sorry, kemperhouseworthington.com. So there you can find more information about Kemper House there, as well as probably more information about dementia and Alzheimer's. So that's really a great service that Greg is doing for us all. So we're going to have him back on. We're going to talk more about all of that. So looking forward to having him on. But there's more coming up that we have that is going to be great to be able to experience. On Monday, we have Dave Caperton coming on. I believe Dave's going to be on with me. So we're going to have a deeper conversation in regards to the Vision Alignment Show. And that will be a great time because Dave is a great guy. And I love him and I love his spirit so much. So that will be great. And then on what would it be on Tuesday, we will have Marilyn Sherman. And Marilyn Sherman is a phenomenal speaker. So I'm just looking forward to having her on because she's a good friend and does a great job. And then Wednesday, I'll be back. And then Thursday, we'll have Gio Rivera. So another great entertainer and just a phenomenal guy. So looking forward to all this. Looking forward to having everybody on. And then who else do we have on? We have Wes Wyatt. What's the best source to find government? Well, you know what, Wes, I'm gonna bring Greg back on, and I'm gonna have him answer this question. Greg,
Yes, I'm here.
can you answer this question?
What was it? The best way to find government communities, government-supported communities like Medicaid?
What's the best source to find the government assistance for Alzheimer's?
Oh, okay. Yes. So if you contact the Alzheimer's Association in your local area, and they're all over the United States, so there's one based here in Columbus and every major community, they will have a list of contacts and support systems. One is called Passport, would be more for in-house stuff, but yeah, they have information on all of that. They're a wonderful resource, and we support them and raise money for them, and they're there to help guide families and people with dementia through the process and to find the right help. So the Alzheimer's Association is the best route to do that. Anything related, it's any dementia disease, even though it's called Alzheimer's, that's their focus because it's 60 to 70% of the diagnosis, but it really is any type of dementia, Lewy bodies or frontal temporal lobe, anything.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Greg.
You bet.
All right. We'll wave you off again.
Okay.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate all the questions. If there's ever anything else you have, by all means, don't hesitate to put them in the chat, the comments, and we'll get them answered and we'll come back to you. So we're gonna have Greg back on, and we're gonna talk more about all that. So if there's ever anything else that I can do for you, by all means, let me know. I just love serving the community, and I think it's great to be able to do that. So, and as always, keep one eye on the road.